Good afternoon, Mom. Good afternoon, classmates. I'm Cecil Siadaya from Alitagtag National High School. This is my report. Home Economics, an Introduction. So in this report, I am going to discuss the history of home economics, its significance, the aims or objectives. Okay, to start, let us define first what is home economics. Home economics is the art and science of home management. It is also called the domestic science or home science, and defined as a field of study that deals with the relationship between individuals, families, and communities, as well as the environment in which they live. This home economics, the courses like here in our country, these are offered internationally and also across multiple educational levels. It has been also important throughout history because they gave women the opportunity to pursue higher education and vocational training in a world where only men were able to learn in such environments. And in our modern times, home economics teaches people of all genders important life skills. The examples are cooking, sewing, and finances, perhaps managing the finances. With the stigma the term home economics has earned over the years, the course is now often referred to by different terms such as family and consumer science. About its name, family and consumer science was previously known in the United States as home economics, often abbreviated as home ec or H. In 1994, various organizations, including the American Association of Family and Consumer Sciences, adopted the new term family and consumer science to reflect the fact that the field covers aspects outside of home life and wellness. So this American Association of Family and Consumer Sciences, or AAFCS, it is an American professional association that networks the professionals in the area of family and consumer science. This was founded in 1908 as the American Home Economics Association by Ellen Richards. Okay. And let us have the history. So this is Catherine Beecher. In 1841, the Treatise on Domestic Economy for the Use of Young Ladies at Home was published. So Catherine Beecher was the one who published this book. So actually it is a book. It is one of the first books educating about home economics, and it was called the first complete guide to housekeeping in America. So she was one of the earliest advocates for home economics education. Her book helped give standardized procedures to women in how to conduct the home. This was just the beginning, a turning point in recognizing the importance of educating young girls and women about the home. So it's all about home. Then, in 1872, we have the Public School Act. So this Public School Act occurred in British Columbia, a year after the province entered Confederation. This act allowed schools to be funded by provincial revenues and helped to establish the school districts. The goal of this act was to permit every child to gain knowledge to become a useful and intelligent citizen. While this doesn't relate directly to home economics, the creation of school districts and a platform for education to occur opened up the doors for the opportunity to establish home economics in schools. So that was the Public School Act 1872. And we have here the Rumford Kitchen. So this is the photo for the Rumford Kitchen. The World's Fair took place in Chicago, and Ellen Swallow Richards was invited to cook within the women's building. So that was in 1893. But she was adamant that her work was meant for men and women, and thus created the Rumford Kitchen. So it was here that Richards made the first attempt to educate people on scientific principles underlying the nutrition. So she is Ellen Richards, and this is the Rumford Kitchen. And in 1899 to 1909, there happened the Lake Placid conferences. Uh, this Lake Placid conferences, these were a series of 10 conferences. So in between 1899 to 1909, where home economic emerged as a discipline. It was here that the leaders and advocates in the field discussed advances in home economics and developed the guiding principles of what home economics was and should be. So this conference is also an important factor in determining what exactly home economics was and what home economics was, what is it, and what will it be. This at least gave a starting guideline and target for which future home economists could aim. This photo shows the participants of the first Lake Placid conference. So, Annie Dewey, Maria Danielle, Ellen Swallow Richards, Alice, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, but Alice Norton, and Maria Parloa. Okay. So during this time, science helped to drive forward education on bacteria and begin examining everything under a microscope. While some educators like Alice Ravenhill in BC started out with work in hygiene, the Lake Placid conferences helped her to realize she preferred the term home economics for her type of education. So that is the um, Lake Placid conferences that happened in between the years 1899 to 1909. So please take note that this is a series of conferences. Then we have home economics in BC and the McDonald Institute. So that was in 1903. The means or the McDonald Institute was co-founded by Adelaide Hoodless and Sir William MacDonald, and it opened in 1903 for instruction of women in the field of manual training and the domestic sciences and arts. It was the first home economics school in North America. This was also hugely important in both starting to educate rural women in home economics, and it finally an open door for home economics in the post-secondary world, allowing women to achieve degrees and show home economics worth. On that same year, Winifred McKind was appointed as the domestic science instructor for the Victoria School Board. He taught um, he taught both the theory and practice of household management along with the scientific lines. So this demonstrated a huge success in women who had been fighting for home economics in school, and the growing interest and appreciation of domestic science. It also helped to fuel the continued struggle to establish home economic courses across BC and Canada to allow for education to strengthen the roles of women in both home and in the society. So this is the photo for the McDonald Institute. Okay, and then next we have here the founding of the American Home Economics Association in 1910. The American Home Economic Association, or the AHEA, was founded in 1909 and had this name until it was later changed in 1993 to American Association of Family and Consumer Sciences, or what we call the AAFCS. So it was mentioned a while ago. So Ellen Swallow Richards was elected the first president of the AHEA and held that position until she retired in 1910. This is the symbol for the American Association of Home Economics. So this one. Then in 1926, the Betty lamp was made the symbol for the AHEA because it meant to make better, much like the AHEA's goal to help advocate and promote consumer sciences and education. So this is the Betty lamp for the German. So for besser, which translates to make better. So besser, make better. And then founded in 1911 with the assistance of many home economics The most prominent being A.B. Juniper, who was the director of Manitoba Agricultural College. So he is the founder of the Manitoba Home Economics Association in 1911. So the Manitoba Association of Home Economics met to discuss issues and social concerns like food loss. Their objectives were to promote the family, community, and a standard of home economic professionalism. It was also a great asset in helping create the Canadian Home Economic Association in 1939. It was also helped pave the way for other Canadian provinces and territories to create their own home economic association. So that was under Juniper. Okay. Then during the World War I, from 1914 to 1918, as battle commenced across Europe, life for women changed drastically. Not only did women continue to fulfill their roles in the homes, but many women also began taking jobs to fill the roles of men who went to battle. Then they also helped the war. So here are the different ways on what they had done during the World War I. So they helped by donating bloods. They also buying war bonds. What else? They also had hard reality of food ration. So many of them started to tend their own gardens as well as work the farm to plant, harvest, and care for livestock in order to feed the local population. So of course, there's an absence of the men then, so women take the responsibilities. Then during this time, there were many teacher shortages in schools, making it difficult for school boards to value non-academic courses like home economics. So, what did the local chapter done? So the local chapter of the Council of Women had to work hard to save it. Then during this time, home economics students worked to help the war by sewing more than 2,000 articles of clothing for the men in the trenches. And teachers taught students how to substitute ingredients in recipes for those which were being rationed. So, women really contributed during this World War I. Then we have World War II. So of course, after World War I, World War II. So that was from 1939 to 1945. During this World War II, women went back to work filling the roles of men. Of course, they continued to work in factories such as being nurses. They do sewing of uniforms, cooking food, and fill any necessary role. So, of course, Then throughout the war, home economics teachers continued to teach domestic skills and have students help with the war aid. Then homemakers were called upon to ration, prevent waste, and save materials that could be reused in war production. As the war drew to a close, women were forced back into traditional roles. However, the survival of images like Rosie the Riveter, so she is Rosie, helped to inspire women to push to their rights and launch a wave of feminism. So this is Rosie the Riveter. Okay. Next. And here is Margaret Macready. So in 1955, she addresses the issue of educating men and boys in home economics in a review of the MacDonald Institute. She also promotes a democratic family model where both adults are knowledgeable about how to raise a healthy family, share responsibilities, and have a happy home. So that's Margaret Creedy. And then in 1968, we have the changing mission of home economics. The publication of the changing mission of home economics is significant because after a thorough study, the results show that more attention and more money needed to be directed to the home economics program. So that's for the changing mission of home. So more money are directed to home economics programs. Then in 1965, there was the formation of the British Columbia Home Economics Association. So it's still functioning today as teachers of home economics specialty association. It works to provide support, professional development to promoting its areas of studies. So it says here, art classes don't just focus on cooking and sewing, but seek to explore deeper global and environmental issues, nutrition, biology, chemistry, psychology, economics, and many other topics. So that is from the teachers of home economics. And then 1982, there was um, social education implementation of inclusion. Teachers were challenged with how to provide for such a diversity of learners, including FASD, ADHD, autism, and spectrum disorder. Then home economics is seen as a subject area that will help students develop social and communication skills while gaining practical knowledge. So that's from working with diverse learners and school staff in multicultural society. So it says here, um, so that is for our history of home economics. Here are the significance of home economics. The main goal of home economics is to train her sons to be professionally reviewed and academically competent in imparting technical in, and vocational skills the students at different levels of the educational system. Home economics has played other roles in society, such as. So these are the reasons why home economics is really important. So first is renew family values and foster unity among members, enabling individuals in their society to cope with the demands that come with different stages of family life. Next to it, it helps to build some relationships among people in society. Third, it enables individuals to adapt to the environment through the effective use of both human and material resources. Another is it has the concern with the global concerns for the environment such as human rights, and it also plays the crucial roles in programs such as poverty alleviation. We have the advocacy for education, family life, education, and population growth. Fifth is um, to individuals to take up careers in diverse industries such as fashion, shoemaking, catering, hotel management, and etc. Okay, I think we still have. Then we also have the interdisciplinary nature of the course, which helps students draw from a wide range of fields to achieve the maximum for individuals, homes, in this society at large. Then it also prepares students for life skills rather than just theories. Then it also draws from diverse fields and therefore affords the opportunity for the development in a specific field. Then another significance is it deals with the well-being of individuals, families, and also the communities. Then we also have it also equips persons with relevant skills that will promote self-reliance, so which is very important for us, the self-reliance. And lastly, it teaches about entrepreneurial activities, which in turn develops the economy. So if the students will be taught of some entrepreneurial activities and skills, so there will always be the development of the economy. Okay, so those are our significances of home economics. So and the last part of my report is about the aims and objectives of home economics. So I think I have here 12. So let's start with the first one. First is to give opportunities to acquire the knowledge and to develop the skills required for organization and management of resources. So the opportunities are always there. Then second is to strengthen students' daily life experience and to stimulate ideas of creativity. Third, to share experience, materials, tools, and equipment with others. So of course, sharing. So being able to share with others, especially with students, that is a very good practice. Fourth, to develop a caring and understanding attitude to others. Then next is to develop students' individual capability by encouraging practical applications of knowledge and problem-solving tasks. Another is to establish a positive attitude towards consumers' rights and responsibilities and protection for consumer. And then the last set here is to provide equal opportunities for boys and girls to learn home economics. Another, to encourage students to learn more information technology, so which is really a part of learning of today. Then to encourage self-learning. So most of our students do the self-learning, especially during this quarantine period. uh, they could help themselves by really focusing on self-learning, especially those that parents could not be able to guide them all the way, or especially on the other subjects. Then 10th, to stimulate critical thinking, enhance English language. And the last but not the least is to reinforce the project learning skills. So all of these were part of the home economics aims and objectives. So here are my sources, and that is the introduction for home economics. Thank you very much for listening.